All right, welcome to today's video. This is Ignite Power Session 6, Sell Your Listing. So for all of you guys watching this video or watching this recording, we are in a very tight seller's market right now. So for today's video, we're going to go over things in great detail that pertains to our market. We're also going to go over some things in great detail in which you're going to need to know and learn and understand for a different market. We have about 2 weeks worth of inventory right now. A normal market, or I would say a level buyer seller steady market, is about 6 months of inventory. So with our supply and demand issue that we have, a lot of the things that you're watching and seeing selling agents do, every single selling agent's going to have to step their game up when the market starts to turn. All right. I hate to say it. I hate to be the person on here, but for sale by owners, I don't know if they're wrong right now. They're going to get their price for it. There's not a whole lot that we have to do to get a home sold. However, I'm going to follow that statement up with, there's a ton of things that we need to still do to get our sellers the most amount of money. We're going to talk about strategy today. We're going to talk about how we can handle some multiple offers. We're going to dive into some of those details that maybe Ignite doesn't necessarily share. But in this market, there's a lot of things that you can still do wrong that I believe it won't create a client for life. All right, we still have a golden opportunity, even in the seller's market, to make sure we do the right things to get a listing sold for top dollar and create clients for life. If you are the agent that believes the listing's just going to sell, you can place a sign in the yard and get it sold. You're not wrong. It will sell. But I believe you're doing yourself an injustice by creating a client for life. So we're going to go over all those different things today. But this is Ignite. What do we start off with Ignite? The daily 10-4, or what I like to call more than anything, the action item. See, Ignite is the platform or the system in which you guys need to be coming to these or watching the videos, but then also implementing what we're learning through lead generation. Now, I know we're talking about selling a listing, so if you don't have a listing to sell, you still need to be lead generating each day. So the daily 10-4, the idea behind it, I've got a couple new people on here. The daily 10-4, the idea behind it is 10 new contacts, 10 new people to your database, 10 handwritten notes, and preview 10 homes each week. So 4 10s. I don't know about you guys, but that can be quite a bit to chew off if you're just getting started, if you're just getting your business up and running, right? If you can't even figure out how to contact 2 people a day, I would suggest not starting at 10. Right? I'm not going to get on my high horse about this. You guys can watch Ignite's videos 1 and 2.
Hello.
Talk about it in full. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. How's the market? Sweet. So your daily 10-4. All right, I'm gonna just pick on a couple people here. Carson, you've said it on video before. Please humor me. What is Carson's daily 10-4?
So I do 15 brand new contacts that I've never talked to before. My goal is to add at least 2 of those to my database, and then at least 1 lead that is interested in buying or selling.
Each day?
Yeah, though that's my goal. Yeah.
Perfect. So 15, 2, and 1. 15, 2, and 1. 15 contacts, 2 database ads, and 1 potential lead out of those 15. Anthony, track that. If you can grab a lead out of 1 out of 15, you are well on your way. You are well on your way. I think at my height I was able to get there, but it's hard to sustain. 1 out of 17, 1 out of 20. We got to work. I love it. I love it. Let's go over those numbers real quick. When you're first beginning and you're cold lead generating, you really are only going to expect 1 out of every 100 people to close. When you are working your database, your sphere of influence, and you're just beginning, when I say just beginning, what I mean is you're starting off with no skills or no talent. You might have natural ability, but your goal would be 1 out of 50 closings, or I'm sorry, one closing out of 50 contacts to your database. As you learn scripts, as you pay attention, as you come to things like this Ignite class, you should be able to get your sphere of influence down to about 1 out of 35 is the next step. And then right where Carson's at, anywhere between 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 25 is really where your sphere of influence starts to kick off. Cold lead generation, some of the best I've ever seen is getting it down to 1 out of 50. So that's why we always focus on our sphere of influence, the people we know, love, and trust. The people we know, love, and trust are no different than us inside. If I were to ask every single one of you individually who you choose to do business with, 98% of the time, it's because of a referral that somebody gave you in your life, or it's because you know somebody, love them, or trust them in that industry or field for them to be able to engage their services. You see, we're no different than our consumers, and so it's much easier for us to go capture leads and the closings off of people we already know, because we do it on the reverse end of things too. Very nerve-wracking for me to hire a brand new contractor that I've never used before because my contractor retired. You know, my dentist is retiring and now I've got to go find somebody new. What am I going to do? Am I just going to go drive around town and knock on dentist doors, or am I going to maybe put a Facebook post out there to see if any of my friends can recommend somebody? Whoever my friends recommend, I'm probably going to gravitate towards having a bias around that. Great job, Carson. Anybody else have their daily 10-4 that they want to shout out, or better yet, their lead generation tactics for the day? Ricky, I know you have a powerful one. Great.
Yeah, so it's the numbers that I have is 33 contacts a day. And the contacts for me, I'm just more focused on making sure I talk about real estate since I'm hitting my database quite a bit. But it's normally a combination of hitting people I've never talked to, as well as the database. And then, I mean, yeah, just like those calls have really been working for me. I don't know about the whole like 10-4 thing or whatever it is. I haven't actually implemented that one yet, or maybe I have and I just don't know it.
You are, and that's why I kind of want to get rid of, I can't think of a word to use or a definition to use. Daily 10-4 is just what Ignite says. Hey, you guys need to be lead generating. That's really what daily 10-4 is you need to lead generate. If you don't know how to lead generate, here's a base template. Your daily 10-4, okay, Ricky, is 33 contacts, right? Humor me, Ricky. Did you start off in real estate being able to have 33 contacts a day?
Oh, hell no. I like trying to call 5 was like a struggle. Like, who do I call type thing.
What do you think the number one attribute or contributor to your success from going from 5 a day to 33 was?
Building my database, as well as ironing out which lead generation activities I want to do and how I can go about collecting numbers or contacts from that.
I can see that. Let me rephrase. How did you go from having trouble getting 5 contacts in a day to now 33 just rolls right off your tongue?
Moving from E to P, I guess would be the best way to say it.
Awesome.
So moving from, yeah, just being entrepreneurial to more purposeful about it. So, you know, understanding that, okay, I need to make all these calls, but I might only be able to make 20 calls, which means that how else can I reach out to people? I can go knock on doors, or I can start sending out messages via Facebook or this or that, until I can hit that number. And ultimately just having to go and start talking to different people about how are you guys hitting your numbers? What things can I work into my own system to make sure I hit a close to that number 2. Plus, I think you told me this a long time ago, Bruce, where it's, if you follow the systems and you're doing what you're supposed to, if you ended up doing everything you're supposed to, you're going to overshoot your goal. And even if you only did like 3/4 of what you said you were going to, you're still going to be able to hit your goal if you're doing it consistently. And that's what I've been seeing too, because like I said, 33 is the number that I did based on the metrics and statistics that I had at the beginning of the year. But all of a sudden in February, I'm like, I could hit like 20 people a day and still pull out a good lead or two, whether it's downline buyer, seller, or investor. So I'm like, if I hit 33, I could definitely overshoot it. In reality, I only need to hit this number. So if I make sure I at least hit the 20, I should be good, but always shooting for the higher goal of 33.
Yeah. And what do we call that higher goal? You guys are going to hear it a lot. You guys are going to hear stretch goal.
Stretch goal, yeah.
Stretch goal, right? Why do we have stretch goals? Because our brain is like a muscle. Our brain is like a muscle. So just like working out, you know, the reason why we're hitting this hard, you guys, and I'm going to hit it hard every Ignite session, because I don't believe there are enough of us following this every single day. If I were to go and start working out in the weight room, and I start with weights that are much heavier than what I need, meaning where basically I'm starting off with weights in which I can do, but I want to work myself up to, I'm going to be sore as crap the next day, probably to the point where I'm not even going to want to work out the next day. But if I would start off with something that's a little bit more manageable, I'm going to be sore the next day, but it's going to be manageable, meaning I'm going to be able to continue and grow and then work from 5 pounds to 10 pounds, 10 pounds to 15, 15 to 20. That's what Ricky did. He didn't go from 5 to 33, guaranteed fact. He went from 5 to 10 or 5 to 12 or 5 to 7, and then 7 to 10 or 10 to 12 or 12 to 15. It's repetition. It's consistent. It's consistency. Okay. Going back to it again. You cannot start off, you guys, with 33 or 50 contacts a day and expect to do that for 90 days. You're going to burn out. What happens when you burn out? You're going to do that for maybe 3, 4, 5 days, maybe even a week, hitting 40 contacts a day. And then week number 2, you wake up Monday morning, you're like, screw that. That was way too hard. I don't want to do it. And then you wait another week, and then you get down on yourself and you're like, I got to get back into this. I haven't lead generated the last couple of weeks. So now I need to start off with 40. I should have never started off with 40, but I need to, because I got to catch up. And you get really sore again and you don't want to do it. Build up. Just our brains are muscles, and you would never do that in the gym. Do not do that to yourself through lead generation. Start with something tangible.
And the other two things, yeah, and the other two things that Ricardo said is be purposeful about it and schedule your time for it, right? Top agents, one of the things that they wrote down is they keep to a schedule of when they're going to do their lead generation. So if you schedule that, you're purposeful about it, and you do what Bruce talked about getting yourself set up for X amount that you're going to do, it'll work. Just will.
Exactly. I'm going to hit this on the head. I hate this market. I've said it earlier on scripts. I can't stand this market. You know one of the number one reasons why I can't stand this market? Because I have to tell you all to double down on your business. I don't feel good as your coach. I hate to say, look, 10, 15 contacts a day is not going to get you the business you want. It's just not. Now, 10, 15 contacts a day, 5, 10, 15, whatever you guys want to start with, you got to start there. If you're not starting to build that muscle, to build those groups, you're never going to get to that level that's needed in this market. I hate to be that person. I mean, I'm not even that person. It's the market that has to have me be this person. But like, that's why us coaches, you guys are, I mean, anybody that's been with us for a while, Ricky, you can probably attest to it, because you've been, I think in this entire group, you've been with us the longest. We have to get more and more and more and more stern with you guys. Not because we want to. I wish I could be in a market in which we could coach you guys and say, look, go out and talk to 5, 10 people in your sphere of influence a week, and you're going to close 10, 15, 20 homes a year. I hate to tell you that, but we were in a market like that maybe 7, 8 years ago. You could talk to a couple people a day, and people are all wanting to do real estate. They're all coming out of the shift. Now there's hundreds of thousands of people out there that want to do real estate. They're not going to raise their hand and say yes unless you're really purposeful with your scripts. They're so nervous out there Sellers don't know where to go buy next, even though they want to. They're going to continue to tell you no, even though it's something in their head. Buyers, same thing, right? If we answer the question from a buyer's perspective, it says, hey, how's the market? We say, oh, it's hot. Oh my gosh, there's no inventory. Bam, you just scared that potential buyer away. In this realm, my coach, oh my gosh, I'm like stuck on this stat. 47 contacts a day to close 20 deals a year. That's the new stat. 47. I have never once in my entire career could consistently hit 47 contacts a day, 90 days straight. I barely got to 40, you guys. I barely got to 40. But if you guys can't figure out and start with your daily 10-4, like I picked on Ricky and Carson, you're going to struggle. It's inevitable. I'm struggling. Brewster has no buyer leads and no seller leads right now for the spring. I'm trying to get in. My goal is 12 a day. I love the number 12, April 12th. That's my birthday, number 12. I'm trying to get 12 contacts in a day with my sphere right now. And I know that if I don't, I'm going to be hurting I'm going to be hurting come March, April, May, probably more like April, May, June, July, really. I'm hitting this on the head, you guys, because what you do today will show up 90 days from now. If you're not lead generating, I encourage you to go into your calendar 90 days from now and put a calendar entry in that says, I'm making no money. And I want you to do that every single day. Because if you can't find the effort and energy to lead generate, you will be receiving no money 90 days from now. So if you can't find the effort and energy to lead generate, take a small amount of energy and put it in your calendar. And I promise you, if you do that every single day, make a calendar entry that says, I made no money today. Next day, I made no money today. You're not going to like doing that every day. It's going to hurt you so bad. It's going to pain you because now your calendar is littered with days that you're not closing deals.
You know, and Bruce, Ignite's done enough, or KW's done enough statistics to show, why do you think they come in with Ignite and say do 10 a day, get 10 contacts a day? Because they've done enough business to know that if you do that, you will be successful as you move forward. Bold is sort of that stretch goal, right? Now, Bruce is above when he said 12, so he's sort of higher than the Ignite, but not quite at Bold. But Bold's sort of that stretch number. That's why on Mondays, we talk about hitting 50 a week, 10 a day, which is what Ignite says to do. 5 days a week is going to hit you the 50 number. If you do that, you won't be writing no money on that calendar 90 days from now.
Yep. Rula?
Well, I was just going to say that, I mean, oh shoot. I was going to stop. That it's not like cold calling. I go to a lot of events. Like I went to the Windsor Women of Windsor last night. And I talked to 20 women about real estate. 20. It was easy. What do you do? You know? And I have my card on my phone. So I just got their number and I texted them my card.
Good.
I mean, I do that at least 4 times a week. It's, to me, I can't do the phone. I can do the personal.
Don't have to. Whatever fits you. If
mean,
that's your lead generation source, fantastic. And if you're hitting that number, fantastic. Yay. Right? I mean, 20 people last night, that's a lot of dialing if you had to dial. So good for you. Right? Great job.
Yep. Now, one of the key points after I drove it home and I stood on my soapbox for a while, 47 to 20 closings is 47 contacts of cold. That's how much cold is not working right now. Do you know why bold is 20? Bold is 20 contacts a day to get you into habits. That's really what it is. Because once you get to the place where you can dial it, Ricky, 33. The other question you guys should be asking yourself, or you should be blatantly interrupting me, is asking Ricky, why 33? The hell did he come up with 33? It's because he got intentional. It's because he knows his metrics. It's because he knows his numbers. How does he know his numbers? Through doing something for 90 days straight and analyzing it. But Ricky didn't go 90 days of lead generation to do 2 and 3 days a week to analyze 90 days, right? 2 to 3 days a week for 90 days is only 30 days, you guys. So he can only get to that place once he gets through that first block, 30 days, or I'm sorry, 90 days. 90 days consistent lead generation. So if you, and I'm going to just keep going with this, I think. If you're on this call and I'm looking at Melanie, because I feel bad that we have never met. You started with us in December. But if you guys are starting off with 2 contacts a day, do it. I commend you. Don't even look at Ricky and think I gotta do 33 a day. No, Ricky didn't start there. I've been working with Ricky. He didn't start there. I didn't start there. 2 a day. Do that 1 week in 1 week straight. So that's 10 contacts a week. And if you hit that, you need to jump to 5 the next week. This market's going to be ruthless. It's going to chew you up and spit you out. You need to chew it up and spit it out. But being consistent, being methodical, tracking your numbers, tracking where your conversion rates are. All of those things are so heavy, right? See, Rula's hitting about 20 contacts, a networking event. Now, the next step that she'll have to work on is going from E to P. Rula, if you guys ever talk to Rula, she's so easy to talk to. It's unreal. So now the next step is she has a natural ability to do that. Now she's going to have to start tracking all of those people every single day. So when she says, I sent them my card, I get their phone number, I send them my card, she's going to have some time during her day where she goes on truepeoplesearch.com, tries to remember their name, puts them into the command database or whatever CRM she's using to be able to then think about a touch campaign to be able to continue that relationship. I'm not gonna poo-poo on anybody in this room that has those digital business cards that you just go up to somebody else's phone. If you can't get contact information, you need to not be using that source. If you have a digital business card that you can go up and slap on somebody's phone and they get all of your information, but you do not receive a one-for-one conversation or contact info, don't use it. Because that's just like me just having paper cards and giving them out all willy-nilly. I've been doing this for 8 years and I've had one person in my entire career call me off my business card. One. The reason why business cards work is because I go like this. Oh, crap. You know what? I've talked to so many people today, Anthony. I'm actually out of business cards. But you said you want to buy a house, right? So let me send you my contact info. What's a good email or a good text or a good phone number I can text this over to? I don't care if I have 35 cards in my pocket. To Anthony, oh, crap, man, I don't have any left. Every single time because I want his contact information.
But Bruce, that's where I usually ask if they have a card. If they don't, when I say I'll text you this, can you just text me your name? So I know. To me, and I keep it in my phone and I will text. Hey, how's it going? It was so nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah.
Good. Whatever your follow-up system is, it doesn't have to be a CRM. When I first started in real estate, CRM was like a new thing. We did Excel spreadsheets.
Hey, I got some great information about Windsor. What's your email address? And I'll send it to you. I think you'll love it, right? That could be a text down the road, right? Now you've got more information. And getting back to Ricardo really quick. Ricardo had a goal for the year. And so we sort of worked backwards with numbers. I remember doing this, Ricardo, earlier in December, if I remember right. And so we sort of backed into, okay, if you want this and you got to get this, and if you got to get this and you got to do that. And we came up with a number that he then knew, if I do this, my end goal, I should make my end goal. Statistically, it shows that I should do that. So kudos. It was a great effort for him. And it also just gave him some great knowledge about, okay, if I do this, I should get to this, and I'm not going to have to write a 90-day, didn't get any money. And Rula, the fact that you got those texts and you got those numbers, what a great opportunity now to do what you just said, text them and then slowly build that relationship where you're going to start adding more information to them and getting them in your database. You're going to put them on a campaign and you're set. Good job.
I absolutely love that you did not come and say, I just handed out my card 20 people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
I like Rula also the fact that like one of the first questions you ask, because I normally say, well, let me text you, like, let me share this with you. But I like how you're like, well, do you have your card? And then when they don't, which they might or might not, then you follow up with that. Great. Well, let me go ahead and share mine with you.
Great job.
So I'm going to steal that from you, Rula. I appreciate that.
That's why we
I
do
did it.
this,
You know, I also went to, it was a wine. I love fun things. So a wine and chocolate walk with my husband in Windsor. I probably met 50 women. And we talked, and I know where their businesses are. I'm going to go to their business, you know, their acupuncture, whatever, their facial, talk to them, use them, and then they'll come back.
And then you'll track them.
It's so much easier than call and funner,
That's
more fun,
key.
more fun.
That's
Way
a
more
key.
fun.
No, that's a key. You
If
make
I
it a
could
fun
go-
business, you'll be successful at it.
If I could hit the nail on the head though, just with what Bruce and Harry have just been talking about in regards to myself, I went through like a big part, like in October of last year, before I got into Bold, of really trying to become extra more purposeful, moving from E to P again in terms of the business and really making sure that I'm tracking, because that was a big part that I struggled with my first year. And just the 3 months of doing that, I had my numbers. But the cool part was, with being so intentional during those 3 months, it also provided me a great opportunity to grow an exponential amount within those just 3 months. So moving into this year, I'm using the metrics for my first quarter of tracking. But in the second quarter so far, I'm already doing way better than my metrics were from the first quarter that I tracked. So I have my numbers that I need to hit for my first quarter, but now I've improved so much where like I don't even need to hit those numbers in order to hit my goal. I still have them there because it's my stretch goal, and I'm going to continue trying to hit that. But and also a good thing to be said was like my first month in January, like I didn't have like any appointments, even though I was hitting all these numbers and all the stuff that I'd done from October. But then all of a sudden here in February, like last week I had 3. Just yesterday I had another 2. I have maybe another couple before I have to head out to family reunion, and I already have a few scheduled for when I come back to family reunion. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And then I look back and I was like, oh, wait a second. That was from like 90 days ago. I talked to that person in Bold or this or that. And the revelation was tracking and then making sure to put them into your CRM and utilize your smart plans and the systems that are here. So it's kind of cool how it works once you actually like put it together, put the puzzle pieces.
Yes. So much yes right there. I've been watching Ricky be methodical. And it's and that, oh my gosh, so much yes. All right, one point on that is, yeah, you guys, no matter what you do, you cannot get discouraged. The only time that I will ever allow myself to get discouraged around a lead generation model is when I can sit there, look myself in the mirror. You don't have to look anybody else in the mirror, but look yourself in the mirror and consciously and without any hesitation say, I did this for 90 days consistently in which I set out to do. That's the only time you can ever look back at your business and tweak it, crap on it, whatever the case may be. I don't know how many times I watch all of you guys, and I just say you guys because you're brand new, do 2 open houses and then say open houses don't work. I want to shake that individual when I hear that. Well, you can do 2 open houses the rest of your career and tell me it doesn't work.
What? I'm bummed that houses are selling so fast. Open houses are so fun.
They're awesome.
I
It's
love
the
them.
only lead generation source that's proven to have a reactive lead generation system. It's the only one. Every other
I
lead
miss the open
generation
houses
system,
too.
It
Yeah.
stinks that we can't have, I mean, that they're just selling so fast.
if I'm you guys right now, and you got to get a listing to do this, but if I'm you guys right now, I am working on trying to figure out how to get a seller
to let me do open houses even after it goes under contract. Hard to do, but you use the right scripts, you can do it. We can talk about that today. We're going to get into listings. I know I promised you guys all listings, but we got to hit this nail on the head. I'm blown away that the stat just raised from 47 to 47. 47 contacts a day to close 20 deals in a year through cold lead generation systems. 47. Ugh.
I mean, that costs a lot of money. Just plain and simple.
Yeah. Why does it cost a lot of money? I mean, because phone calls are free on my phone. I have Verizon. Why does it still cost me a lot of money?
You can't meet 50 people a day.
Yeah.
Like, what you know,
Oh
you might
my
be able to pull
gosh.
that off. Like Rula almost pulled that off the other day, but to do that every single day, you got to pay
Well,
for it.
and that's through networking events. See, there's even metrics that go beyond that, right? A face-to-face contact through cold is way more efficient than a contact through phone.
And way more fun.
Oh yeah. Depends on who you are. But all right, we're gonna quit beating this. We're just gonna quit beating this. Daily 10-4. Figure out what yours is. Be methodical with it. Understand that you need to track it from day one. If you don't track it, you have nothing to look at and poke holes in 90 days later. Okay. Let's get into the listings here. A few things that we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about staging the property. We're going to start about how we market the listing. And we're going to heavily hit how to market the listing, especially when we're not in a market like we're in right now. And then communication with the sellers. This is important whether your house is going under contract in 24 hours or whether your house sits on the market for 6 months. This is not going to change my stance on how I communicate with my seller at all. All right, let's dive into staging. This is a topic that makes me cringe, but I enjoy it. Let's do a poll. Go ahead and put 0 in the chat if you are against staging. Go ahead and put 1 in the chat if you are all for staging, and go ahead and put 2 in the chat if you just you have no real you're indifferent. Let's see what our target audience is. Did I say all 4 is 0? I can't even remember what I just said. Hello?
Did you, I don't know.
What are the metrics?
0
one
is
more time?
against, 1 is for, and then what'd you say? 2 is you just
Depends,
don't
okay.
really know.
Cool.
I think it depends I put number 2.
Sorry.
I put number 2 just because like it depends on the house, does it need to be staged? Do they have a bunch of kids and a bunch of pets when there's just like stuff everywhere? Like I know what that's like, with kids, there's just stuff everywhere. But I just think it depends on the house. I think it would be one thing I had put in my listing presentation was a picture of like just, a house with, some kid stuff and, little clutter here and there. And then like the same exact living room with just only like the furniture and like little things, it's almost amazing. It turns your point of view. So I would just say it depends on the house, if it needs to be staged or not.
Perfect. I like that a lot of us are in that depends category. I'm hesitating, you guys, because I'm trying to keep my bias out. I have tried to stage and spent seems like hundreds of thousands of dollars on staging. And then I went and I basically stopped for a while. My ROI went up skyrocketing. My percentage from list to sales price was the exact same. And then I took this really, really powerful class. So I was very anti-staging. Bruce had become tainted. The market, pre-programming, that's why we have political beliefs. It's because of how we grew up. I'm tainted. I'm pre-programmed. I was pre-programmed before I took a great staging class a couple of months ago, about a year ago now, to where I'm in the middle now. I think it depends, and I really understood why I was tainted. Here's why I think staging depends, and I can appreciate the people that are all for it. I can appreciate the ones that we didn't get 1-0 in there that says everybody's anti. Good, because that was me, and I'm glad that we're not anymore. I think it depends. I think it depends on the market. I think it really also depends on where the seller wants to list the home in accordance to comps. And here's what I mean by that. If a seller really wants to test the market and really put their listing that everything's selling, my neighbor got 17 offers, it went for $100,000 over list price, so I want to list $100,000 over comp value, then I think staging is something we really, really need to consider, because that $100,000 over listed property may get an offer. If things are going for 100,000 over, it may get an offer, but it's not going to get one unless it's presented extremely well. Extremely well. Then on the flip side of it, we look at the market. I don't care what house I'm listing right now. If the sellers are even $50,000 to $100,000 over list price, I don't know if I'm staging it still, because of supply and demand. Let me give you guys a beautiful example. This is a house I've been monitoring. It's just down the street from me. I've been monitoring it because I'll be selling my house. So if you guys have any buyers that are coming up in Longmont, I don't know where I'm going to list my house at right now. I personally was telling the buddy that I own it with, we should probably consider 525 to 550. And then I saw this hit. And then I saw this had multiple offers.
I know a
Now
great listing agent, Bruce, if you need one.
Oh, I already reached out to Mr. Carley. He's coming over sometime. This guy just down the street from me, right off the rip. Okay, staging I think really needs to be described also as appearance. I think staging, we get in the mindset of it needs to have furniture brought in. It needs to have decorations brought in. Staging is that and more. Get this darn hose reel out of the frickin' shot. Shovel your driveway. Maybe clean up some of the old weeds that are there. I don't really care about snow. We can't help that. You know, a person's going to list the house and they're going to list the house. But right off the rip, I can't stand this. I have to see through all of that to just look at just the house. Where's my arrow at? Oh, there it is. That's a nice cat tower you got there, Clark. Is that your dining room table or is that your office? I'm telling you guys, this house very much comps out like my house does as far as criteria goes. My house has so many things and so many features above this. And I was thinking 525 to 550. These guys listed at 550 and I was like, I'm not going to hold my breath, but that'd be really cool if these guys would get, you know, this thing sold at a decent price.
Oh, it's not under contract yet?
Oh no, it is. Went for multiple offers.
You know what?
I'm probably looking. This is what I wanted to get to.
Oh my gosh.
Rough.
What's another thing that you guys see? Not all the clutter here, but what's one thing that I can see that is about $5,000 to $6,000 at a very minimum price? You guys see that? You guys see the paint here? It's absolutely losing all of its sheen, and when it loses its sheen, it loses its integrity for protection. So this whole house needs to be pretty much repainted, as well as all the other crap. But anyways, they didn't do this house didn't bring in staging, and they didn't even clean up to get ready for photos.
But it looks like they had a photographer. Those don't look like iPhone photos. So that's interesting.
Very interesting, right? They paid for professional photos, and that's the agent's job, right? Our job is not to go in the backyard of someone's home and clean it up.
So my stager does a free consultation with the sellers. And so they, like when I go and do my listing presentation, you know, I can say, hey, we really need to declutter, start putting all this stuff in boxes. People don't want to see pictures. They don't want to see things on your mantle, things like that. And you can kind of show them, you know, just on the MLS, like what houses look like that are selling and on the market, and they kind of get a better idea. But the stager's job for me is to be the bad guy. So like she comes in and then she'll just like give them all the bad news. I don't have to be the bad guy. And then she gives them all the advice on what they need to do and, you know, how much she would charge for her services.
Perfect. Yeah, stagers and staging companies all have different, they're all different businesses, you guys. Just like my buyer's presentation should not be your buyer's presentation because I know how to talk around it. My business is different than yours. We're just in the same business of selling homes. Same with stagers. So be careful, vet them, understand them. I personally gravitate towards the stagers that are willing to have those free consultations. I also am not opposed to stagers who have been around for a while who charge me, the agent, more of like a $50 to $60 consultation or staging fee. So I don't have to be the bad guy. I personally do the staging consultation with my folks. I don't mind being the bad guy. Because normally if I'm the bad guy and they will have a stager come in, they're going to see that it's not me that's the bad guy and the stager's not the bad guy. The market is. The market, you want to sell your house for top dollar? We need to clean this sucker up. The other thing about like stagers or staging is some people will just pay, or some stagers will just come over and help move furniture, stage the home in which things have, right? A stager would come over and go, we got to get this cat tower out of this living room before this photo is taken. You can bring it back in from the garage afterwards for showing so your cats have their perch. But for showing or for photos, we need to get this thing out of here, right? I'm stuck on that. That's the biggest. I don't have cats. That's the biggest damn cat tower I've ever seen in my entire life. And it was in the smack dab in the middle of a listing photo. I could not believe it. So what if that person were to list the home at $650?
What was it listed at?
It's $550.
I bet you if they had cleaner pictures, more professional, a little bit more staging, they probably could have gotten it.
They would not be that far off. You see, I was very surprised that this home was listed for $550. And then what I did was I pulled a search for all of Longmont. I pulled a search for all of Longmont. And there is only 2 homes under 600,000 all of Longmont. So yeah, if they would have just done a few things for a couple, I mean, I would venture to say just a couple of hours instead of money, they probably would have been able to list at $625. Heck, I would have probably I would have been the agent that probably would have recommended a painter who'd be willing to get paid at closing through proceeds to repaint the exterior. I might even be willing to put up staging money for a company to come in and haul off some of that junk in the backyard, you know, take down some of those weeds, shovel the sidewalk, shovel the driveway, go in the house and help them move big things into the garage. Those people don't have to be stagers. Those can be handymen. Those can be, you know, college kids. So really, really important that I understood in my career that staging the property wasn't just staging with furniture. Staging the property is so much more than that, and it needs to be done. That house, mark my words, okay? I've done and dealt with buyers way too many times. They may have got multiple offers. That thing's probably going to sell for over $550. But I almost can assure you that if they spent those couple of hours, they would have got more offers, drove the price up even higher, probably would have listed it higher for no money, just effort, really just effort on the seller's part. And even if it was $1,000 to hire somebody to do it, probably would have got another 10, 15, $20,000 out of the listing. So again, going back to in this market, will a house sell without being staged? 100%. Just that's a proven fact right now in my neighborhood anyways. But it's I
Did
believe
anybody
it's
else go look at the house 1117 Lincoln in Longmont?
117 Lincoln.
Oh, you guys are all north. 1117.
Well, it doesn't matter where you're at. I have plenty of buyers that go into Fort Collins. Everybody needs to know every one of these towns around us.
Yeah. I just went and saw this one last night. 675.
Wow, on Lincoln Street.
Holy. And this is my comp for my new one that I'm selling.
Nice.
Crazy. But there's one living space for a 5-bedroom house. It's crazy.
But look at already, you guys.
Mhm.
Fresh paint on the door, fresh shutters, fresh paint on the eaves. All of these things, you know, when you look at this, you look at it and you say, this is visually appealing. But the reality is once you start to really detail all of the reasons why it's appealing, you start to realize how much effort was put into getting this home ready. But there's no furniture, there's no porch, bench that was brought in. It was fresh paint on the door to match the shutters, to match, to spruce up the soffits.
The lighting
Right.
fixture,
A wedding picture.
the lighting fixture out there, with the light.
Yeah, that looks
Outdoor.
new. Yeah, exactly. This is probably less than a couple $100 to just make this pop. Now I'm sure they've done a lot. I mean, who the heck has a white lattice thing around their their air conditioner and stuff like that? This is probably somebody that's really prim and proper as it is, but already off the rip. Oh, I like this, Erica. I was actually going to bring up the difference between a staged vacant home and a staged furnitured or furnished home. That is an absolutely massive amount of cam lights.
Yeah.
Anybody think this living room looks small?
It's super small.
Super small? Yeah, personally, I think this home is one of those ones where it might do it justice, bringing in, I would say, let's say 5 to 7 pieces. Nothing big. I don't need a full decked out living room. I want to see space. Oh, wow, it's not even a full ranch. It's actually got like a...
For this price, no, it's a tri-level. So for this price, I felt like staging was necessary.
Thank you. Okay, so that's... Erica, it's like you and I had a meeting before we did this. Yeah, so right off the rip, you guys, could this? I don't know. Longmont is going crazy right now. But yeah, if I'm listing at 675 on Lincoln Street, because I don't even have to pull comps to know that I don't know if anything's sold for 675 over there recently. Yeah, you guys, they're trying to test the market. And they're probably listing this thing at like $50,000 more than what I think it probably comps for. Will they get it? Who knows? But yeah, I'm with Erica. Spend an extra couple grand on full staging package for this. If it's listed at if it's listed at 550 or even 600,000, maybe not. You're probably gonna, save that money because you're probably gonna get it.
Hey, Bruce, can you toggle back to the slideshow that you were going through? I saw something that kind of resonated.
This slideshow here, or
No, the
PowerPoint,
PowerPoint. Yes.
for sure.
Wherever you were when we last left off.
Maybe it wasn't the PowerPoint, but the PDF print off.
Oh, yep, there it is. When I was reading through that last time, so for those of you guys who don't know, my wife Ashley, she does staging, and I had to hop off here 5 minutes ago because I got a call from her. She worked with uh, a client now from like another brokerage that she's been referred to, yada yada. And she was a little upset because she found out that, and her client in this deal is actually the agent. So the agent hired her to do the job, and the agent was happy with it. But his client, who's an investor liquidating a bunch of properties and listing over this next year, had brought my wife in to do this. And, she did her best job and basically matching to what the homeowner was going for. But then we just hear tell that the homeowner came in, liked some of what she did, didn't like some other stuff. So then hired a whole new staging company to come in and redo different parts of the house, keep some of her stuff there, yada, yada. But I saw at the bottom, it says allowing visiting buyers to envision themselves in the home instead of seeing the seller at every turn. So in that case, my wife's client is the agent, and the agent was very happy with the staging job. He's like, no, I think this is great. It looks great. It presents well. But then his client, the actual homeowner, came in and is deciding like, no, I don't think this is like how I envisioned it. And so then the homeowner's coming in, and this is more on the other agent and him dealing with his own client. But basically that homeowner is trying to stage it to be like what they want it to be, or like what they envision it, instead of what the professional stagers know, like what's the trends and what's going to work out and like help actually make this place pop to the most amount of buyers. The sellers coming in and deciding, no, this is what I like, and that's why I want to do it like this. And that's totally fine and good. But I think that's another important piece with staging that I've learned from my wife was, it's not about, what you like necessarily as the agent sometimes, or whatever, everything like that. But it's ultimately what's going to make the home pop the best, what's going to make the home, sell the best and look the best in front of buyers, especially at the higher price point, or what are the little things that aren't going to cost a lot that are going to help actually boost the amount of equity that you can, or amount that you could actually sell the home for and get more from it. So it's not personal, but it's more about still just like real estate. Look at the numbers, look what shows that's going to get you the best return on your investment, and then invest in that to get better investment in return for your clients.
Awesome. Well said. Well said. All right. So we understand the importance of staging. We got the importance of, having stagers on hand. Now, when I choose to walk through the home with a person, let me give you guys kind of my scripts, my scenarios, and we'll walk through that one on Red Cloud. So let me tee that one up again. So if I'm walking in Red Cloud, if I'm walking into this listing and I'm about to go walk around this home with someone, normally I'm starting inside, right? Because I'm at the listing presentation. I already walked around the house. We're talking about getting the home sold. We went through everything. And now at the end of my listing consultation, this is when I walk back through the home with the sellers. So let me just give you guys my rundown real quick. When I get to the house, I put my stuff down at the kitchen table or someplace that we can sit at a table. Never, ever, ever the living room or anything too relaxing. This is a big deal. This is a major transaction in their life. Right? This isn't something that's going to be taken lightly, and this isn't something I'm going to be lounging in their couch to have them feel so relaxed that they're not even paying attention. So drop my stuff off at a kitchen table, and then I tell them I want to go on a nickel tour. I want to look at your home through the eyes of a buyer. I do not want you to lead me. I want you to follow me. Better yet, stick around at the kitchen table. Let me do my job, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Right? I'm going to do a nickel tour. I'm going to take some notes, but I'm not going to ask you questions. And I do not want you to highlight your home. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to see this through the eyes of a buyer. And you are not buying your home, which means you cannot highlight your home. I want to see it. I want to feel it. And I want to ask you questions after we're done. Should you choose to have me list your home, then we'll walk through the home in great detail. And I'll give you all of my tricks and tips to get your home ready for the market. Sound great? Great. Do the nickel tour, come back, get to the listing table, and then I go through every single avenue or piece of marketing that I'm going to do. I go through the listing process. I go and briefly explain the contracts. Sometimes I know I'm going to get contracts signed right there. I'll go through and get them all signed. And then
I go through the home. Do not be the agent that spends an hour walking through someone's home, giving them every single trick and tip to get their home ready to sell, and then they don't use you. You're wasting your time. Do a nickel tour. Get them to commit to you verbally or through an executed exclusive right to sell, and then spend your time going through with them. Because you can always say, hey, great, now that you decided to hire me, it's time for me to get to work. Let me show you why you made the right decision tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So let's reverse this role. Instead, why don't you walk through this home with me? And I'm going to give you a lot of advice on what we need to do to get your home ready for photos, as well as show ready. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's a difference between photo ready and show ready. We need to get this home ready for photos, and I'm going to tell you what you can and cannot put back into your home for showings. Ready? Let's walk through. So that's pretty much how I go through it, and that's pretty much how I get to this place where we're going to start to walk through this home. One of the other things that I'm going to say is Mr. and Mrs. Seller, right? Just like a buyer, you guys, you want to set expectations. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as we walk through this home, I'm going to upset you. I'm actually going to make you feel uncomfortable. I don't mean to do this. You see, the reality is that I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable because you have your home set up in a manner in which you feel comfortable. So since it's all set up to your liking and your comfort zone, when I tell you to change anything, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. If I go through this entire home and I don't make you feel uncomfortable, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I got to be honest with you, I'm probably not doing my job, and I probably feel hesitant to actually share with you the truth. So do we have a good understanding that you may feel uncomfortable walking through this home? They're going to say whatever they're going to say. Some of them are going to be like, Bruce, you can't offend me, man. Just tell me what I need to do and I'll get it done. I'm not setting the stage for those people. That's cool. I'm setting the stage for the people that are proud of their home, that have legitimately loved being there, that when you tell them they need to take down their cat tower, they may start crying. It's no joke. Sellers have a heavy emotion around selling their house. Most of them. And the ones that don't care, so there's no emotion to deal with, right? But sellers oftentimes are the most emotional ones when this process happens. Buyers have a different emotion. They're excited, they're happy, they're happy-go-lucky. They'll pretty much, conform to whatever the market needs them to do because it's exciting. So I'm going to tell them that I'm going to upset them, regardless of whether I think I am or not, because when I do upset somebody, I've already explained it to them. They already know why. It's not me against them, it's us against the market. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, as we go through here, I want to make your home show ready. Show ready. You're going to be puzzled at some of the things that I tell you to do, and you're going to question it. I want you to question it. Okay, I can't read your mind. So anytime I say something as we walk throughout your house that you don't want to do, I want you to combat it with me, because my job is to make sure your home shows and gets sold for top dollar. And so I'll explain to you why exactly what I'm telling you is what I'm telling you. So for instance, in this room right here, I want you to take down every single wall, every single photo on each wall, every single one. The only thing I'm allowing you to do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is have one photo on each wall or one piece of decorations, right? That's my rule of thumb, one per wall. Now, if that thing is personable, such as this photo right here, anything with real people in it, I want you to take down. Anything with religious effects, political views, or any sort of controversial stance, I want you to take down. The only thing you can leave on that wall is something neutral and one item. So throughout this entire house, that's going to be my premise. Every single room we go into, I'm going to show you exactly what I want taken down and what I'm okay with you leaving. The other thing that we need to do is we need to make sure all surfaces are barren. So this end table over here, I want everything gone. This coffee table, everything gone. The underneath the end table, gone. I want this blanket gone. Cat tower, gone. I want your entire dining room table to be cleared off. I want matching chairs around it. And if you don't have matching chairs, I want all the chairs out in the garage and leave the table blank. In this room here, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I don't mind this bookshelf here, but since it doesn't have too many things on it, what do you think about boxing this up and moving this bookshelf out to the garage? Same thing in your kitchen, Mr. and Mrs. Potential Seller. I want everything off these countertops for photos. Now, this is where we start talking about showings. For showings, I'm okay with your coffee maker coming back out, but for photos, I want this thing barren. You see these buyers coming into your home, I want them to see the home in the light that they're going to be moving in. They're not going to be moving in with your personal effects, which is why I'm really hitting hard on all of your personal items. You're going to be taking them with you anyways. So instead of having a potential buyer look at all your personal stuff, I want them to see the home for what the home has to offer. Does that make sense? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Everything off of this. I hope, you guys, that this is a brand new dishwasher and it just needs the film removed. But if this is a pink dishwasher, there's nothing that you can do. But these are the little things that I want you guys to keep your eye out for. We all know we need to clear off all the countertops, but if you see a pink dishwasher and it looks like the plastic film from the factory, tell them to peel it off. And if they, I get this all the time. Well, Bruce, we want the buyers to know that it's brand new. They'll know it's brand new, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We're gonna need to put this off. I've got a way around that, and here's how. And I'll just start pulling that shit off. But if we pull this off and you want them to know this is brand new, here's what I suggest, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Why don't we get all the photos taken, and then you leave the brand new manual with the receipt right above on the countertop for showings. But for photos, let's remove this pink film, and then let's show the buyer that it's brand new through the receipt versus this pink film, because this pink film is not going to match well through photos. Does that make sense? Okay. Clean up the cord. It's so tacky. This room doesn't look bad, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I think maybe we can move the lamp maybe over in this corner and turn it on, but I totally get it for light and visual effects. The only thing that I would say in this room, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if at all possible, is why don't we remove this dresser? I want to open up this room and I want to expand it. I want this room to look huge to the eyes of the buyer through photos. So why don't we take this dresser and why don't we put it in the garage? Here, is it empty? Can we do it right now? I'm thinking if I'm walking into this house, you guys, I'm probably like offering a hand to start moving some of this stuff. You don't have to. Bruce does. I have no problem going in somebody's backyard and cleaning it up. Because that backyard that we're about to see, it's not that I'm going to go haul off all the lumber and stuff, but putting it on the side of the house in a nice, neat stack, you know, that goes from the longest boards up to the shortest boards is going to look 100 times better for 10 minutes worth of work than what we're going to see here in these photos, right? But in this room, I'd probably just have them remove this this dresser if at all possible.
You wouldn't take off that mismatching curtains and just take them off?
I would.
I would.
They're bad.
They don't even match. If it matched the bedspread, it wouldn't be so bad, but.
This is where I'm probably, I did that and somebody melted down and they told me that their grandmother knitted that for them and that they couldn't believe that I was requesting that to happen.
Oh, I'm not requesting you get rid of it, just for the photos, and we can put it back.
Yep, no, I probably would. I probably would, but but based upon the other rooms in this home, I may not hit this too hard.
Oh.
If the other rooms were okay and I'm having a great time and they're like, oh yeah, no, we'll clean off everything. We'll do whatever you need me to do, Bruce. Yeah, I'm the doily looking curtain, the bedspread. I'd rather have a bare mattress and box spring than that bedspread.
Not if it's dirty.
Well, yeah, if it's soiled, flip it over. If it's soiled on both sides, go buy a white sheet. But yes, great call, great point. I mean, I personally wouldn't even have this light in this room unless I need the light. You can clearly tell they need the light because there's no overhead light, but I would see if there's another lamp without color, or I would ask my photographer to make those look white. Do some touch up. Good call, Rula. Out here, same thing. Just empty off your table. I think your treadmill's fine. If we could put it in the garage, great. Get rid of this little tub over here, but everything looks okay. I'm okay with this room. You got to work, you got to do your own thing, but yeah, go ahead and throw away your straw and lid from your McDonald's to go cup. I also would think that, shut down your laptop, put it underneath the desk real quick, and then put it back out and just leave your monitors up. I would tell them to get rid of this. So I was trying to find a good example of this. So when I go through the home with the seller, I will constantly talk about having wide open walkways. So because you come in, can you guys see my cursor?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So when you come in, your natural habit is to walk around this desk and to come over here and sit. So that's a natural kind of walkway or throughway. So because of that, I recommend the seller either put this in the garage or take this thing with the printer and put it on this back wall. Anytime that we can widen a walkway, a natural progressive walkway, right? A room is not a walkway, but the way that the desk is set up causes there to be a natural progressive walkway. Does that make sense? Anytime there's a natural progressive walkway, I want that to be wide open if I can, which means I'm either going to educate them to take this and put it in the garage or put it on this back wall over here by this light. It looks like they just took this light from room to room and plugged it in. All right. Yeah, and you know what? There's no doily in this room. So I would say this would give me a really good reason to go, hey, you know what? I don't mind this curtain, but since these other rooms don't have it, why don't we make all the rooms uniform and consistent, and let's take this down. Probably be something that I'd probably look for doing. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's go ahead and I can appreciate that you threw your bedspread back on the bed, but let's go ahead and make the bed. I hate beating people up. I get it. I mean, my house isn't clean, but I'm gonna do the right things for it to get shown. I'm a clutter guy. I hate things in file cabinets. It's all over my desk. It's an organized chaos. So I'm not beating these sellers up. You guys, if I'm this agent and I know how, you guys will start to figure out who your people are. I am making it a point to meet the photographer over at that home. And I'm going to do all of this stuff for my sellers if they're not willing to do it. Not all of it. I'm not going to touch on a bunch of their personal stuff, but for the photo, you guys, here's the I would say 10-minute rundown to make this room look so much better. 10 minutes. I'm going to shove this cord underneath the bed. I'm not even going to I'm going to just realign the pillows to make it uniform up here. And I'm going to just realign the bedspread real quick, like 30 seconds. I'm going to take down the Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse photo, and I'm going to wheel this thing out of the room. Bam, done. Take the photo 100 times different off of 2 minutes worth of effort. But you guys can do that. Be strong with who you are and why we work and why we're the professional. All right. You do not go into the doctor's office, fill out your form, sit in the waiting room, wait to be called back by the nurse practitioner. And then they say, what? Hey, Bruce, we're going to take your vitals. I don't say, hey, I'm not here to have my vitals checked. I'm here to have my sore throat checked. You're not taking my vitals. Right? I'm going to let them have the vitals done because they're the professionals and I'm not going to combat that. So have that demeanor, right? You don't walk into your doctor's office and they go, hey, we know your appointment was at 2:30 and it's 2:28. Go ahead and you know, if you want to fill out these forms, go for it. But, you know, we're going to need these done at some point. No, fill out your forms before we take you back. Oh, hey, before the doctor comes in, we're going to take your vital signs. That's how you guys need to act. So I'm doing that with these people. Hey, you know what? I think you guys have a lot on your hand. I think that when photos come, if you guys don't mind, one of the things that I do for my folks is I actually help run around the house and help you guys get these rooms staged. Here's what I'm going to need you guys to clear off everything you can, but I'm going to be there for some miscellaneous stuff that we could just pull out of the room real quick, take the shot, put it right back. Right? Because this room is so close, you guys. It's so close. If I'm this agent, I would have been so upset with myself for not going over to the house and just being there for these photos. All right. What about this picture? Rula?
Well, I would take away that bookshelf that has nothing on it. I would close that door. I don't know how.
No,
The
there's
TV
not, again, there's not much. For me, I leave it.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
I'd put that space picture underneath the TV to hide the cord.
Okay.
I would. And get rid of the bookshelf and close the door.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So this is, you guys, I love this, Rula. There's no right or wrong. I would never close the door. I want the buyer to understand that that's the door to the hallway versus closing it and then thinking it, where do I enter this bedroom? Is that the closet? Is that not? So I personally probably leave the door open. What the other thing that I would do is I would unplug the TV cord and then I would just wrap it around there for the photo. And then once the photo's done, unwrap it, plug it back in. Then you can get rid of space. Then you can get rid of this bookshelf. The other thing I would get rid of is this jewelry cabinet. It just isn't uniform. And it kind of, it doesn't take away the full walk space because you have this wall here. But I think visually speaking, just opening that up would be fantastic for this room. So those are the three things. Wrap the cord around. Well, four things. I see it in the background here. Clear off the counter space. Wrap the cord around, get rid of this jewelry armoire, clear off the counter space, and get rid of these things. Simple, you guys, 5 minutes. Because this bookshelf's empty, so go haul it out to the hallway real quick, take the photo, haul it back in. That photo, this is oh, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the way you have your room right now is perfect for showings. However, for a photo, I want this to be done. That's the difference. This home is almost show ready. Well, not in the living room and the dining room, but these bedrooms seem to be. These bedrooms are show ready, but they're not photo ready. You see the difference? Cool. Countertops. That is so funny. That's the exact same tile I have in my shower. Same, it's just weird. The builder used the exact same stuff, just like they do today.
You got that fancy wallpaper too, Bruce?
No, I didn't have any wallpaper. I had a border wallpaper. I didn't have any wallpaper.
Coming back.
What's that?
Coming back in
Not
style.
in this guy's house, that's for sure.
Not that kind.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So this room, okay, so one, okay, this is where the agent staged the home wrong. What did I just pick up on there? Did anybody else pick up on it?
The agent staged it wrong?
Yes. Remember when I said at the beginning, I realized that the word staging, I needed to get out of my head that it was the placement of furniture. That's not what staging truly is. Why do we stage a home? We stage it so it looks better. Why do
Put all the
I?
furniture on one wall.
Yes,
stage
that
us
is what
up.
needs to be done. But furniture aside, what did the agent do wrong here? Raise your hand if you feel like this is the same room that we already saw pictures of. No one's raising their hand.
It looks like it. The
Because why?
first bedroom, because of the bedspread and the
Yeah,
lamp.
the bedspread, the light, the dresser. So why is this stage wrong? Help me out here. I want to hit this home. Remember, take
Because the
furniture
view from
aside
the
and
other
let me walk.
side makes the room look smaller.
I don't know if that's, well, that could be something that you just can't help. I kind of like the double shot from each room. You're close.
Is it because they're not together? Like one
Yeah.
after the other.
Yeah. For a split second there, when I went from, I think it's this photo to this photo, I thought, okay, here's the third bedroom. And I like, wait a second. This is the first, is this the first bedroom? Is this the second bedroom? Makes my eyes go, wait, that is the same bedspread. Okay. So it's possible they have two bedspreads. We already saw this light in multiple different rooms. It's possible. So right off the rip, I'm going, is this the third bedroom or is this the first bedroom we showed? I'm thinking it's the first because the dresser's still sitting here. This is staged wrong in the agent's eyes because this is not a good flow. I haven't really seen this house really have the best flow. First of all, the flow outside is fine because you do a first shot and an angle shot. Here's our flow. Now I would expect the next photo, if I'm going inside, I would expect the next photo to be somewhere around the entry door. But if I'm staying outside, I would just expect another angle. So not a right or wrong with what's next. But what would be wrong is going and clicking this button and it would be a bedroom, a kitchen,
Basement.
right, basement, garage, something like that, right? But here we go. Flow. I like it. Yeah, it's a little difficult to tell that that's the front door, but you can kind of get it. I don't mind the flow so far. Bam. Now I have a problem with the flow. You see that first photo, if you can jump through this wall, was taken over here. Right here's the dining room table that we didn't like. And then right next to this Swiffer thing that I see here that should have been put in the closet is the cat tower. That's how far we just went zoom right through the house. A buyer's going, wait, where's this? Oh, is this a second living room? What is this in the basement? What is this? Oh, wait, there's the kitchen. Where's the kitchen? No flow. The next photo that really needs to be done is probably from this angle here, looking at the front door, or maybe this angle here, looking back over this way. Or this shot. I mean, this would have been a good second shot right coming in inside. And again, they kind of just jump over to this room. And then this, right? So this is bad staging on the agent's part because they can maneuver, they can pick up and you want to flow through the home, right? That's why we put staging furniture in to make the home flow better. That's why we tell people to open up walkways to make it flow better. Our photos are so important with that too, you guys.
I don't think I'd ever use this photographer.
Be careful, Rula. I used to say the same thing. Photographers are not allowed to touch their stuff.
Well, no, but he could have called me and said, I don't think this is a good time for me to be taking photos. And said, do you want to?
You better set that
here?
expectation with your sellers or your photographer well. Who's paying for that trip charge?
For what? Me to go there or him to go there?
No, for him to call you and say, I don't think I should be taking photos.
What do you mean? Like who's paying for him to go there?
Yeah, he just went there, said, Rula, I don't think I should be taking photos. You say, well, if you don't think I should be taking photos, then don't take photos.
No, then he would say, well, why or whatever. And I'll say, let me come over, see what first of all, I'd have been there.
This
I've
house,
never
100%,
done it before, but
I would have been too. There's no way around that. What I'm getting at, Rula, is that I don't know of a photographer that's going to call you and say, I can't take these photos because you hired them and their expectation on you and your seller was that the home was ready. So most of them will charge you $100 trip charge if you tell them not to. But most of them are not going to call you and say, I'm not taking this, because they want the money. It's a
Well-
business. They had a schedule. They want to stick to it.
I'd pay them the $100 because to me, like what I show is me, you know.
And that's why I'm saying you want to make that relationship with your photographer. Do not assume that they're going to call
Absolutely.
you. Okay, cool. Yeah, no photographer is going to call you and
Absolutely.
say, I don't think I should be here.
Oh, it would be a friend, you know, who's in the business, who I
Yeah.
know very well, who
Good.
could call me up and go, Rula, this ain't happening. This is
Good.
effed up.
Cool.
You don't want this.
So remove these dressers is what I would tell them. Put it in the, put it in the other, put it in the garage or move it to another bedroom for the photo, bring it right back. I'm okay with it for showings. I don't really like it for showings. I like to keep walkways open for showings, but if I'm really getting pushed by the seller, I'm cool. All the stuff off the countertops. I personally don't like the bright red towel. I'd rather have something more neutral, but I'm not that opposed to the towel. What else do you see here? I see three things that I would be a little picky about. Two for sure.
The mirrors dirty.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I said the toilet paper.
The toilet paper was the third on my list. I don't know why. Like, just drop that down. Even the photographer.
looks
Yeah,
like-
you're not supposed to touch
Like the
personal
mirror is
stuff.
dirty.
The mirror is, God. Yeah. What else?
Burnt out light bulbs.
Yeah, there's been burnt out light bulbs in most of these rooms, it seems like. Yeah, deodorant. Yeah, besides cleaning off all the countertops, definitely. And then the backyard, we kind of already hit that. I would walk back there for, gosh, actually, I thought it was going to take 5 minutes, but I'd walk back there for about 10 minutes, and I would shove all this crap on the side. They don't even take a photo of the side yard. We didn't even see that the first time. But you guys, they don't even take a picture of this side yard right here. Go stack up all this wood, put this charcoal pit back there, get rid of this dog door that you makeshifted, and pop down the curtain. So many things in this photo. We don't need to keep going. I get this photo back from a photographer and I'm the listing agent. Like, again, you need to just delete this photo and chalk it up as something you paid for that you're not going to use.
Do you recommend sometimes that people get like house cleaners or window washers to them?
Yep. I
You
am not opposed to be ruthless in these listing presentations. I used to probably be like this agent where I'm like, it's okay. The market will bring you some money and we'll sell the house. I used to be like that because I was afraid of offending people. And then, I learned. What's that?
A lot of people appreciate it. I found out. Well, I've lost a couple listings because the other listing agents were giving opinions and advice. And so I learned pretty quickly that I need to be providing that value for, what they could be doing in the interim times.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say too, is just like your doctor, you don't go in and say, I can't believe you wanted to take my vital signs. You got to set that expectation. Look, I'm going to offend you some way, shape, or form. When I walk around your house, I'm going to offend you. And here's why. Because you live in your house. You're comfortable. When I tell you to move something that made you comfortable, it's going to make you uncomfortable. So just setting those expectations is what they want. They really want to hear that. They want to hear the honest to God truth, no matter how bad it pains them. You may not get the right reaction from them, but they appreciate it down the road.
Well, some people have been asking, like, should I do this update or should I not? And so that's always, you can advise on it, but it's tough for me because I just want to go get like an estimate, and kind of give them the information. I don't know. Do you have any input on that, especially in this market?
I do. That's it's a hard one to answer because
what you have to, this is how I deduce it down. Now that I've been doing it for so long, I feel like I can actually confidently answer that question when somebody says, should I or shouldn't I replace the carpet? I have to think about the overall with my seller. What is their objective?
Right.
If their objective is top dollar and replacing $2,000 worth of carpet gets them an extra 5K, then yeah, replace the carpet. But if the reality is that they're already overpricing the property and they're not going to get extra money out of that carpet, I may or may not recommend it. If they need to be in Michigan by the end of the month and it needs to be a quick sale and we've settled on a price that we're going to get a quick sale without replacing the carpet, but carpet's going to delay that timing, then I'm not going to recommend carpet. So great point. Great.
Buyers, like what they are looking for and what their time frame is, kind of.
When I list this house that I'm in right now, so give you a little background. The house that I'm in right now, we've done a lot. And we've not done some other things that I wanted to get to. Life happens and I need to make a move now. There's so many things that I'm not going to get done, but you know what I'm going to put on? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on the MLS. Depending upon the offer situation, seller is willing to give a seller concession of X for this, 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 and this. Do you know why I'm going to do that? And this is actually, we're jumping into marketing. So here, this kind of fits in perfectly. Why would I do that? Anybody give me some psychology behind this?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So
you know what, like you're identifying that you understand that work needs to be done. You're not trying to like just polish a turd.
Yep. Don't you give me it. Don't you even try and negotiate these items down is what I'm saying. If there's a multiple offer situation and you ask me for seller concession for the items that I blatantly know need fixed, need renovated, or whatever that case may be, and another offer comes in and does not ask me for the concession that I was willing to give, I'm going with that offer. So be careful. If you guys are on the buy side and you guys, go ahead, Erica.
I've also seen it phrased a different way, which I may like a little bit better. And it's just purchase price is based on the, like, they understand, I don't really know the exact words, but like they realize that that work needs to be done and that's incorporated in the purchase price. Instead of giving a seller concession, hey, we identified that it needs new carpet that has been inserted into the purchase price. Something like that. I don't know.
I used to go that realm. And the only reason why I go with the seller concession side of things is because I can't be 100% sure I'm going to get multiple offers. And so by saying that the purchase price is reflective of those items, could cause a buyer who's got very limited funds that needs some of those things fixed, like I don't need new carpet, but let's just say it's new carpet, but their kids have asthma. They barely have enough money for the down payment, and the inspection. They're not going to be, they're probably going to pass on my house. Well, that person that I could give $2,000 in concession for is not going to be a big deal for me because I didn't get multiple offers. It means I didn't list my house right in the first place. So I like to sell people on, I'm willing to give concessions if need be, type of thing. Meaning I'm going to collect more offers from buyers who would be hesitant to, if I just said prices as is with all faults and I'm not fixing anything, I might scare off some people. It's just but I like it. It's just more of a history thing for me. Marketing the property. All right. You guys, we hit home on staging well, because I believe that that's a major component of marketing. The photos need to be in order. That's marketing and staging, right? The house needs to have photos that look good. That's staging and marketing, because the marketing piece goes on the internet. in this world, there's not a whole heck of a lot anymore that we do as far as full on dollar amount or paper marketing. You can print flyers, you can print brochures, you can put little flyer boxes out there. Some of the other things that I've noticed or that I've seen that I think work better. I'm anti flyers and I'm anti brochures for one reason. I've only ever been called once on my card in my entire career. I don't believe somebody's going to call me based upon the flyer. I don't believe somebody's going to call me based upon the trifold. They're going to pick up the flyer, they're going to see the address, they're going to go right online to figure out some of their other things, right? I personally like those call to action signs, sign writers. So it's a sign writer that says, dial this number for more info. When they dial that number, you capture their information. Some have QR codes on them now. When there's a QR code, they scan it, you capture their information. So am I anti-flyers? Not anti, but I just think there's a better way to capture information. That makes sense? If my sellers
There was the lender at an open house the other day with the real estate agent, and they were doing a raffle for a Yeti cooler. And so you could put your information down to get that. It was pretty awesome.
Yep, we're going to talk about that with marketing to open house. Bring that back up. That's a great point. So if my sellers want flyers, I'll do flyers because it doesn't cost me very much money and it appeases them. But I don't do flyers. I'd rather do a call to action, right? Contact information is more valuable to me than somebody just taking a flyer and never calling it. Same thing with door knocking, you guys. I mean, I leave flyers at doors when I'm advertising for an open house. But if I'm looking to just give somebody a market analysis or talk about or farm with the neighbor or something like that, I don't know if I'm leaving the flyer at the door all the time because they're not calling me off of the flyer. They're the interaction, the one-on-one, which means I want their contact information. So I don't like flyers because flyers give up a lot of information. They don't usually call you off of them. I like the call to actions. How else can we market it from the road? We got our sign in the yard. We might have a call to action or some flyers out. I would heavily recommend you guys, if you guys want to market your property well, they make these little signs. They kind of look like open house signs, but they're not. It just says home for sale, and it's made out of this corrugated cardboard that has an arrow on it. If you have a house that's in a neighborhood tucked back that's hard to find, I would call the HOA. I would figure out where I can place this sign to help direct people to a home for sale. Why do I do that? When I list a home, you guys, my number one rule of thumb is to grab 2 buyers and 1 listing. That is my goal with every listing that I have. By making sure the neighborhood knows that the home is for sale is crucial. So all of you guys probably live in neighborhoods. Maybe some of you guys live on acreage property, maybe Carson. But anyways, for most of you guys that live in a community, you're going to have your normal path, which means for me, I live like very close to the exit of my neighborhood. So for me, I am more than likely going to, I'm more than likely not going to drive past all the homes down the street from me that go up for sale. Not because I'm in real estate, I got a search set up for myself and stuff like that. But I want the neighbors to understand that I just listed a home. I want them to, on their way home from work, drive past their own home to see which neighbor is listed. So that's another key piece that I think we need to, you should have. And sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes the HOA won't allow you. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes the home is too easy to see. Sometimes the home is all the way in the back of the subdivision in the front of the subdivision where every single person is going to drive by. So again, marketing is all about the psychology. It's all about making sure you can capture as many different listing leads as you can.
Do
Because in
you-
this,
Do you recommend putting your information on the sign? Sorry, I gotta let Doug go. Do you recommend
yes,
putting information? Okay.
I do not. So my open house signs, I do not put my information on. Unless the sign company has something that's free and I can put my phone number on it, great. But for an open house sign, for me, it is all about having the biggest arrow around with the biggest wording that says open house. If my open house signs say nothing but open house and have a huge arrow on it, I'm doing my job. Because open house directionals are for what? To drive people to the property. Now, when you get into it and you have some more money and you have some more things, you can have exactly what I'm looking for, the biggest arrow that can fit on this sign, the biggest words of open house that can fit on the sign. But then if I can pay a little extra to put my logo up at the top because it's free space, it's open, I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I have a little blurb down at the bottom or a little space down at the bottom, I'm really sorry, guys. Leadership is blowing my phone up and it's making me nervous.
Before- And I thought it was awesome. I was like,
Yep. So yeah, exactly. I think that's where I was going. Open house signs, I don't really care about my information. As I progress, and if I need to pay more, if there's space on it, I'll put some of my information because those signs are up for a day and then coming right back down. But what Erica said, it's beautiful marketing. Beautiful. You put that arrow up there, but it doesn't say open house. It says all of your branding. Let the corrugated cardboard be the arrow. It's in the shape of an arrow. Probably, is that what you saw?
yeah, I mean, it was pretty nice. I'm sure it was a little more upscale, but
Yeah.
luxury. I mean, it was a luxury neighborhood. So like do it for the neighborhood, I guess.
Yeah. The other piece with marketing and talking about the neighborhood and that if I have a corner lot, I'm going to put 2 signs out. If I have a like a teed, I don't even know what the heck to call it. But if I have a house that if I have a house that's like on, I don't know how to explain it, you guys. I have one of these right now.
It's really nice to have the light on them. I know some of them have if you order them and they install it for you, you can get a light option. And then nice.
Okay. I can do you guys one better than a light, or not better. I think the light's awesome, but it takes time, effort, energy, monitoring it. You got to have, if it's solar, that's great. But if it's a plug-in, you got to get all that. So I'm talking about this. So this is my listing right here. So see how this house goes right here where you have a street this way and you have a street this way. If I'm listing this house, I'm putting a for sale sign in the yard right here. And it's going to face this way and this way. But I want the neighbor, again, I'm trying to capture more listings. So I might put 2 signs in the yard right here. One that faces this way, and one that faces this way. So that way all the neighbors that run down this street. So if I live here, I can still see this sign that says for sale. If I live here, I'm going to drive by this sign that says for sale. Does that make sense, you guys?
What
I
about,
may or may not decide to, it depends, but I think it's a valid thing to do.
is that a busy road, that Bruner Boulevard?
Yes.
I put it
Say
in the
it. Yes. I was going to say the third thing is they have a privacy fence. Go ahead and tack it up on there. I don't even call the HOA I ask for forgiveness or I let my sign get stolen by the HOA. That is a beautiful place to put a sign. So that's marketing outside of the home, you guys. In the direct neighborhood, think about those things. Look at those things and do those things. All right. Continuing on with marketing. We all know what open houses are for. They're for us to get leads. They're not really to sell a house. No, I'm being serious with a little caveat. The day of the open house, the day of the actual hours that you're in the open house, that's for you to capture leads. Let's face it. All right. It's less than 1% of open houses sell the house. less than 1%. Here's why the open houses have to be done. If you're not doing open houses, you're doing a disservice to your seller and yourself. One, because you get leads at open houses. Two, because now it gives you a reason to cold call, door knock, put a sign up in the yard, have your neighbors see that you're working for the sellers. That's what an open house is for, on the side of things that get you more listings. Open houses, the actual day is for buyer leads, maybe some sellers, right? If you did the marketing in the neighborhood correctly. But the open house advertising and marketing is for the sellers to see that, or is for the neighbors to see that you're doing such a good job that they should hire you if they're thinking about selling a home. That's why we advertise to sellers. My script is, hey, Erica, what's going on? This is Bruce. I'm door knocking around your entire neighborhood today because I just listed the Johnson's homes. And I'm out here because I want to ask you if you know of any buyer that's looking to potentially buy this home down the street. Because I'm out here door knocking. I want to assume you're going to move down the street. But do you know of anybody that you might be looking for a home? Oh, hey, by the way, Erica, the reason why I do this is because I know that some people in the neighborhood are also thinking about selling their home. Maybe in a year, maybe 2 from now. But would you like me to follow up with you to let you know what this home sells for?
Yes, I would love that info.
Perfect. She is either just curious about equity in her home or she is thinking about it. But I'm not going to sit there and berate her.
Do you give them a flyer then, Bruce?
Yes.
Okay. So
Whenever I'm doing an open house, I'll pretty much leave the flyer there because there's a slight chance that they're going to take that flyer and come to the open house. But my flyer is not the flyer for the home. It's an open house invitation only to neighbors.
I got you. You just print off the MLS sheet for the open house.
We'll get into the open house in a sec.
Okay.
My flyer thing that I don't do anymore, I used to do it, but I realized the call to actions skyrocketed leads for me. I just don't do flyers outside on the sign. I do flyers in the open house. And when I door knock, I don't use, I call them open house flyers, but not home flyers.
Okay.
Because flyers for the home usually give a lot of the information. Flyers at my open house, I'm keeping information hidden. I want them to go to my website. I want them to ask me more questions at the house. I want them to call me because I didn't give them enough information. What kind of information do you think I leave out of at the open house? I don't put price.
Oh, I've seen that people don't put the price on the flyers.
Chances are they saw the price online, but if they can't remember, who they got to ask? This guy. If they didn't see the home online and they were just driving by and I don't have a price on there, who they got to ask? This guy.
That's true.
The other thing that I leave out is my open house flyers. You guys are just pretty basic. I put down the address, my contact information, and a few photos. I don't want them to know the square foot. I don't want them to know the bedrooms, the bathrooms. I don't want them to know the price. I want them to ask me. Who here just heard that and goes, well, I don't want the open house guest to get frustrated with me for not providing more information. Anybody just have that thought in their mind? Can't see anybody, so I'm guessing somebody did.
But you are providing information because you're, with not giving them all the information, you are promoting more foot traffic to come in the door, which in itself is going to be in the seller's best interest.
Exactly, Chad. I don't work for the potential buyer. I work for the seller. And if I can pick up a potential buyer, I don't really want the buyer who's pissed off at me for not putting the price down when they could just open up their friggin' mouth and ask me. So I used to feel that way. I used to be like, we need to give information. Like, we need to, and I'm like, no, I only felt that way because I didn't want somebody to be frustrated. But if they're frustrated, it's probably because they're already working with another agent anyways.
See, at my open houses, I give a ton of flyers out and I give a ton of information, but they are in the door already. So, and everything I give them has got my contact information and my branding plastered all over it. Anybody that's been at one of my open houses can testify to that. In
Sure.
fact, I make sure after they sign in, even if they don't want it, hey, take my promotional flyer that tells you all the restaurants in the area and all that. What's on there? My diamond, my contact information. And then now I'm giving them a pin too with my logo and my phone number. And the pin is free for yours too.
Perfect. All right, let's keep going here. We've got about 5 minutes left. This is working out perfectly. Marketing, continuing the marketing game. When you guys list your property in the MLS, okay, so let's stay physical for a sec. Let's not go digital yet. So open houses, door knocking, cold calling, flyers, call to actions. The one thing I forgot to mention, kind of in reference to that light. Yeah, the light is cool. It looks good. I personally, all of my signs, I pay the extra $100, $200. I don't know what it costs a lot of money, but for the extra reflective signs. So every sign company out there has an option for reflective. The reason for reflective is exactly why this is the time of year that's so crucial for reflective. It gets dark so early. People are driving home from work. Remember, I want the neighbors to see my sign all the time because they're going to see my sign. They're going to hear my voicemail. They're going to hear my voice when they answer the phone. They're going to see my open house. They're going to see my flyer on their doorstep. The consistent message has to continue rolling. And if it's, the dead of winter, dark at 5:30, and the neighbor doesn't get off work until 6, doesn't get home until 6:30, and my sign's not reflective, they're not going to see it. It's unreal to me how much the non-reflective signs, even when there's car lights hit that sign, it's like a big white blur to them. The reflective ones, it's vivid, it's vibrant, it's literally the same reflective material as bicycle lights or bicycle, not lights, the bicycle reflectors.
Yeah, it's like a safety thing.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it makes your listing pop without even having a spotlight on. The spotlight on it's really cool, but reflective, if you've bought signs that aren't, that's okay. Use them in the summer. If you get a listing, get the next one to be reflective for sure.
Smart.
Next tip for you guys. All right. I will tell you, Bruce used to be a heavy buyer's agent. Cue cards. Let's talk about cue cards for a sec. I think you could wrap this into staging. You guys see how this conversation around how to get your home sold or to market the home the best for your sellers is they intermix very much. If you don't stage the home right, digitally, it doesn't look right. If you don't do all those medians throughout the neighborhood, you're very unlikely to get a seller lead from your efforts. In this market, what are we looking for? We're looking for the seller leads. You could probably list a home and get 5 buyer leads, but I'm not even going to get excited about that because only one of those 5 buyer leads may close because the market's so tight. I want a seller lead. So let's keep going physical for a sec. In the home, they're called cue cards or highlight cards or info cards or whatever the hell they are. Those info cards, be careful putting up too many and be careful putting up the no-brainers. Okay? And here's what I mean by no-brainer. Welcome to our kitchen. Like right before they walk into the kitchen. We all know it's a kitchen when you walk into this sucker, right? So don't put up the blatantly obvious cue cards. Why is that? Buyers look at it, they laugh at you, and they stop looking at the house. I'm telling you, as a buyer's agent, I walked into so many houses that had 20, 30 cue cards all over, all saying like stupid stuff.
Custom cabinets.
Yeah, custom cabinets. No, okay, if you're gonna put custom cabinets, put the wood type down or put why you want to highlight that they're custom, not that they're custom.
Yeah,
right?
or like soft clothes or something like.
Yeah, stuff like that, right?
You
The
wouldn't
cue
know.
cards that I love are the cue cards that you can't figure out from the showing. Like I do like when somebody says, hey, look, there's a whole house fan. Because a lot of times those whole house fans are just sitting there and you don't really notice them. And sometimes buyers think they're important. I love the QR. I love the house fan QR code that says central AC and attic fan. Because sometimes if you just see the attic fan, you start to think, oh crap, this home doesn't have AC. And then you got to go run around the house and look for it and all that stuff. So QR codes that are limited, that actually help the showing, that don't distract the buyer from looking at the home. Don't be putting on there, this is my living room and this is a refrigerator and here's the furnace and here's the water heater. The redundant stuff takes the buyer's eyes away.
Make sure you have really good tape. So I went into one and they're like all over the floor. And so I'm like, oh. Oops.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot about that. Yeah, I've made that mistake too. Don't take the cheap Scotch tape on, the knockdown texture. Knockdown texture doesn't really like to stick on anything. Right? Granite, I love the ones. Granite countertops. No kidding.
I don't like them at all because then they don't even have to talk to you. Their questions are answered as they go around the house, so.
I still like them. As a buyer's agent, I love to know what's behind the wall that a QR code that I can't see, maybe even the inspector can't see, gives me food for thought that helps sell the buyer the house. I love that. Like, oh, here's one that I love. When somebody does spray foam insulation in the walls, I that's awesome. I know that that's super energy efficient. Spray foam insulation, and then they tape right below it their utility bill for the last month or something like that. Those I love, Chad, because that question's not going to come up. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm working with a plumber right now. They're selling their house down in Thornton or getting ready to, and he has like upgraded all of their water heater. I mean, like everything is so top of the line. I don't know how to like effectively provide the information that's important, but then also make the seller happy that I'm like giving out enough, but not too much. I don't know.
No, that's awesome. It's awesome.
I might brainstorm with you on that.
No worries. So that's all the kind of the print and in the neighborhood stuff that I recommend and I do. Now digitally, it's a little easier. You guys, I'm just going to mention it because if you guys need to call any one of us coaches, go for it. You can pay for ads on Facebook, social media, Google, all of those things. I think we all kind of are aware of that. Maybe not sure exactly how. Just reach out. I don't necessarily do all those things, but I can point you in the right direction. The other thing that we do is in the MLS, there's a button that says, you want this listing to syndicate to the entire world. Make sure that button's selected. You'll know what I'm talking about when you input your first listing. Here's the number one thing that I do kind of digitally or outside of the neighborhood and house. You need to let your entire database know. You guys have seen my Facebook page. I post my listings, I post my closings, I post all of those things. I post them so my database understands that I'm working. So I post those things so my database knows that I'm still in the business. The other thing that you guys don't see, because I don't have any, I don't think I don't have any one of you guys in my database. My entire database gets that emailed to them too. All I have to do is go into command, click email all, post it. Here's what I'm doing. Have a nice day. I don't even write anything in there. I just listed from, and I'll just steal it. Your database needs to know. When I'm making my quarterly calls, right? My quarterly calls, I'm going to be right now, my quarterly calls, I've been really pressing the fires and insurance. Hey, what's going on, Erica? It's Bruce. Hey, like I said, I'm always going to give you a call with relevant information. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about today was making sure your homeowner's insurance is covered. You see, because of the Marshall fires, we're finding out that people were underinsured. Have you talked to your insurance company lately to make sure that you're good? And Erica says, actually, yeah, he reached out to me and we're set. Cool. As always, I just want to make sure that I'm putting my name and information in front of you. And if you ever need a new insurance rep, just let me know. But I'm glad that you're being taken care of. See, just as your agent, your insurance company needs to do the same thing. Oh, hey, Erica, I'm not sure if you saw it on Facebook or my email, but I just listed a property in Longmont. And, if you know of any buyers that might be looking for a property, let me know. As always, have a great day. Or, hey, Erica, you might have seen that I just sold that property in Longmont. It just closed. I'm ever looking for more inventory right now. So please, as you go throughout your day and your work and your life, make sure if anybody of your friends has any questions about listing their home, you reach out to me. All right. Have a great day. That's how simple your guys' spear calls need to be. Don't overcomplicate them. Don't make them 10, 15 minutes. Pick a reason. I'm using the Marshall fires this entire quarter as a reason to call my database for my DTD2 or my quarterly call. And then I'm going to sprinkle in all of the real estate that I'm doing to ask for business. But it sounds genuine, right? It's part of it. It's where I'm at. So your listings, to market your listings, it needs to be done with your database as well. After that, you guys, there's not a whole lot of other marketing tips for you guys.
Why am I not in your database?
What?
Why am I not in your database?
None of you guys are.
Why?
Why? If you want to be, send me your contact info, or because I don't want to spend the time putting you guys in as contacts. That is not part of my 20%. If you want it, send me an email and my assistant will do it.
No, I just wonder because I put everyone, and you said the other day you have 120 or something like that.
I have 183 people in my database, and I haven't grown it and I haven't got rid of it. It's been 183 since last year. I really haven't been paying attention.
Shame on you.
It's simply because I don't want to take the time to add all you guys into it. I haven't directed my assistant to, but if you guys want to see what I pump out, what I send out, I can put you on some things.
I do, because I didn't even know you had that house for sale that you just closed on.
Well, you didn't have a buyer that was looking in the MLS.
I look in the MLS, especially Longmont, every.
Well, then you should have saw it.
I didn't. But I would have seen your email. I would have been like, oh, Bruce sent me an email. That must be important. Click.
Well, it actually, this brings up a good point. I know we're going over a little bit. This brings up a really good point. You guys ever get emails from other agents advertising their listing?
All the time.
And what's your thoughts on that?
Thanks.
No, seriously, what are your thoughts on that?
That they're doing a good job.
Why?
Marketing the property.
Do you guys know how much that costs to do?
0.
You're right.
Really? The
For a
Remax?
Remax agent to blast all of us Keller Williams agents, Coldwell Banker agents, other Remax offices, all brokers. That costs money to grab that list.
I figured they just grabbed it from an open house and then that just all goes into one database or something, and then they.
What?
I figured they just somebody from Remax puts it into the information I've given out, puts it into a database.
Well, don't you get listings from agents that you've never even interacted with, you've never been to, you've never given your information to?
Yeah.
They're buying our information. They're buying our rosters through a third party to be able to email blast. I personally am just utterly stunned that people do that, because if you're an agent and you're looking for an investment property, you have yourself set up on an MLS search. If you have a buyer who's looking for a property, you're not waiting for agents to send you emails, you're setting them up on the MLS. For me, I don't know, I just find that one funny. The only time I see those email lists to brokers actually do something is when somebody's doing a broker open. But I could care less about your brand new listing in Longmont for $650 if I don't have a buyer. And even if I have a buyer for Longmont $650, that email is not going to prompt me to go talk to my buyer about it. My buyer search is what I use. So anyways, I see all those things come in. I don't think there's a lot of Keller Williams agents that use it because we all blatantly have learned that it's a lot of money for no return. Erica feels indifferent. Erica likes it.
Well, if they want to spend money on me, hey, I don't care.
No, and that's kind of the way I feel too. I'm like, sometimes I'll unsubscribe because I'm just so sick of them. But other times I'm just like, I need to call you. You need to get into coaching. Communication is our last piece here, you guys. Why am I spending 30 seconds on communication? Because it needs done. Like, we understand that we're in sales. Communication is heavy, heavy, heavy. My one script or my one line for you guys is, at a listing presentation, let them commit to your communication schedule. By you promising your communication schedule to your sellers, it means you're going to commit to doing it. That's really all communication is about. Every time something comes up, send it to your sellers. I mean, every time. Hey, the buyer is now through their insurance termination deadline. Nothing for you to really do or know, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. I just want you to know this: the buyer's not backing out due to not finding adequate insurance. Congratulations, another hurdle done. Every single date and deadline in that thing is something that you have an opportunity to connect with your seller for. If you have a week where there's none of those deadlines, then my commitment to my sellers is, sellers, every single Tuesday, I will be giving you a call with or without any information. The reason why is, one, I just want to touch base with you. Two, the reason why I'm going to be giving you a call is because I want to make sure that you understand how the feedback's going, what's going on with showings, how the buyer's doing, what I'm seeing on the other end. Or I'm going to be calling you because Mr. or Mrs. Seller, because you're selling your house, real estate's top of mind right now, which means you're going to run into somebody in your daily life that it also needs some real estate assistance. So when I call you every Tuesday, I'm going to call you with updates around our transaction. But if I don't have anything, my expectation of you is to help me find that next person that I'm going to work with. You see, after your listing sells, I need another listing to put this sign in the yard in. And you're going to help me do that because I'm going to help you get top dollar. And all you have to do is help me by just listening to your friends and family. That makes sense? Great. I'm going to call you every Tuesday, probably in the afternoon. And so let's get going. That's how easy communication is. That's why I don't spend a lot of time on it. And Ignite doesn't spend a lot of time on it either, you guys. Literally. Discuss communication. That's it. And we just discussed everything on 22. I don't think I have it pulled up, but you need to be calling your listings every single week, whether or not you have an update or not. If I call them on Tuesday, but the buyer's inspection or the buyer's insurance property deadline is Wednesday, I'm going to call them Thursday to let them know that the buyers went through their inspection or their insurance deadline. So every Tuesday, every single week, as well as every milestone in the contract. If you do that, you beat everybody else in this entire community called real estate with that type of communication. That's how simple that piece is. Any questions on communication? Cool. This was a great class.
Caveat though, I had a land property and it sat and sat and sat and sat and sat.
Why is that a caveat? Pick my brain.
Because I wasn't getting like showings on it every week. So it would be like every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'd give them an update of feedback, or let them know when we had a showing scheduled or something, but it was like not, it was different.
It is. Well, and that's what I was about to say. I don't think you have a caveat. You literally have just something different that we haven't talked about. That's a good point. I love this. So, Erica, you know,
First.
I know I'm trying to get into script mode and I couldn't get in there for a sec. Erica, hey, according to the data that we're seeing, this piece of land that I'm going to be listing for you has an average days on market of 2 to 250 days. So what that means is that if we price it within the comparable range, we may or may not get an offer right away, but we also on average are looking at like 200 days. Now, I pride myself on calling you every single week, but because I know that this might be 200 days out, I don't want to bug you if you don't want to be bugged. What would you prefer? Would you prefer me to call you every week for the first month and then every other week or once a month? Or how would you like me to communicate with you if there's just nothing to update you on, knowing that this may take about, 3/4 of a year to sell? And then they say whatever they say, and then that's what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
Good. Thank you for bringing that up, Eric.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I did
Well,
not.
and
I did not set the expectation, and it got awkward at the end. It was just like, why? Like, I don't know.
yep. And if Erica says, hey, Bruce, you don't have to call me unless there's something that I need to know, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to call you every now and then because my job is to sell your home or your land for top dollar. But your job is to get me some other leads. So there are going to be times that I call you that I don't have any market update for. And I'm going to ask you for business if that's all right, because let's face it, I need more business. Whatever that
We
is.
all need more houses to sell.
Yeah. So good question. But anytime I think like, oh, and sometimes you guys, I'm literally explaining to you guys kind of the perfect world. There are some people that I will walk straight into their house. I'll do the listing presentation, we'll sign it, and I'll say, hey, look, now I pride myself on community. See, I just have the script down. Hey guys, I pride myself on communication. And you see, I'm going to be calling you and probably sometimes in 1 week, talking to you multiple times about the milestones in the contract. The other thing I pride myself on doing is giving you an update every Tuesday, whether or not we're under contract or not. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, blah, 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 expect that. And then I get somebody that says, I am in sales, Bruce. I don't want you to call me every Tuesday. I'm going to call them every Tuesday. Make sense? Cool. Anything else? Great class, guys. Great interaction.
Sorry for talking so much.
No, Erica, I appreciate it. And that I tend to pick on people that have their cameras on. I love that Chad popped in every now and then. You guys know me. I hate being the preacher. I'd rather have an open dialogue, mastermind, and using these classes to your advantage and to the relevancy of the market. And like I said, we hit home on a lot of things today that we do and don't do in this market. I literally said a few things that on my last couple of listings, I didn't do. In this market, there are some things I'm going to do. There are some buyers or sellers I need to do it for, and there's some that I don't. It's a business.
Yeah, last week at a listing presentation, he was, well, I don't need, I was telling him about my marketing and all the things that I'm going to do and provide that go above and beyond. And he's like, well, you don't really have to do that in this market, right? And I was like, well, there's things, that you can generate more business by doing. And so
let's script that out. I like that because you still need to sell it.
Right.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, so I understand that the market, there is low inventory. We've talked about that, and there are a lot of buyers out there, but getting the marketing for your property right from the beginning really generates that interest. So generating that interest, I'm going to be specific on what I do to list your property. What's important to you? Is there anything that you find important in terms of marketing? It sounds like you're kind of familiar.
I like it. I personally am going into, look, I thought you hired me to sell your house for top dollar, not just sell your house. You see, you're not wrong. In this market, anything will sell if I put a sign out in the front yard. It'll sell. But I know that through these extra efforts, they're not necessarily extra. They're part of what I do, and they're part of the reason why you're hiring me, because your house is going to sell regardless of whether I put a sign in the yard or not. But your house is going to sell for more money the more effort I put in. And that's how you'll get some of the people that are thinking about going with a discount broker to not go with the discount broker. Because if they have the mentality that anybody could sell a house right now, which is true, you need to validate the truth, but then show them that the truth is that it will sell. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. I can sell your house for $1, or I can sell your house for $1 million. What would you be more happy about?
Right.
Right. So that's why I go into that. Try that. Because I get a lot of people that do that too. Like Bruce, I for sale by owners, that's the number one thing they say. It's going to sell. Yeah, it's going to sell. But do you know that on average, because you're not on the MLS and because you don't have a professional license in this industry, your house is going to sell, but you're traditionally going to sell it for almost 4 to 5 to 6% less than what I can sell it on the market for. So don't you think it's worth our time to sit down and talk about this? That's how you get a for sale by owner. I love it. Nice job, Eric.
I did use the dollar thing when I was talking to him.
Nice. Yep. Yeah. Kill those people, those sellers out there that constantly just think that they can just sell their house right now in this market. They're missing the big picture. Yes, you can. Anybody can. However, a professional real estate agent is going to get you top dollar, not just your household.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Later, guys.